I guess if Bicester were playing or something and we were like big football fans and we were from Bicester, Bicester would be the team that we would support.
Yours is Southampton, isn't it?
It's only because I lived there and everyone in the halls, everyone in my halls was like, there was 10 people in our halls, but the 6 of us were kind of like, we bonded quite well because of comic book stuff. Like
not Southampton football team then?
No, I only followed Southampton football team because... So I was there in 2011 to 2012, and I think at the end of 2010-2011 season, they got promoted to the Premier League. So when I was there, they've gone from Championship to Premier League.
So it was a boom of interest.
Yeah, and it was massive, and I was like, right, okay, well, these guys all watch football, they do Gillette Soccer Saturday, they all have in-depth knowledge about this stuff. I don't want to be left behind.
Yeah.
So I sort of just like, okay, well, I sat there and I watched the football stuff and I kind of got into it and I was like, but I could only say I support Oxford. And it's like, it's really bad because everyone there supported like a Championship or a Premier League team.
As you do.
As you do. But like the other Ben that was in there, he was from Coventry and he supported Coventry football team and they were like League 2 at the time. Yeah. So it was a constant.
But I was the same as you. I had... all the kids in my class at like secondary school were big Man United. I think it was all Man United fans actually. And I didn't know who to support. My dad's from Mansfield, so he supported Mansfield.
Okay.
That's where he was born, so that's who he supported. I was like, oh,
it's only out of like...
Well, I'm from Oxford, so I guess I'll support Oxford. And that worked out really well for me because anyone would say, oh, so who do you support, Chris? Do you support Arsenal, Chelsea, Man U, any of the big 3? Oxford. And then people just stopped asking me questions then. Oh, brilliant.
That's pretty solid.
Get away with this.
Solid.
But then as I grew up, I found people who were actually Oxford United fans.
And then
yeah, they're doing well this season, aren't they? I don't actually follow football at all.
I'm so sorry.
What's their colour? Do they have a special outfit?
They're yellow, I believe.
They are yellow,
It's yellow and black. They kind of look like bees, don't they?
The Kassam... No, it's not. It is a Kassam.
It's the Kassam, yeah.
Well, I only know that because there's a cinema next to it.
I always used to...
and the Frankie and Benny's in the basement. I say the basement, the ground floor.
Ground floor. Makes it sound weird.
Yeah.
Frankie and Benny in the basement.
Frankie and Benny's Dungeon of Love. Do you want a mozzarella stick?
Do you want a big macchiato?
So proud of that. So yeah, welcome to Kicking Around. Episode 4. No, 5. We're the big 5.
We've made 5.
The big 5. Episode 5 of Faulking Around. As always, I am Chris, and joined with me is... I said I was going to say...
You did, and you've forgotten what it was, haven't you?
The Goosey to my Lucy.
That was it.
The Lucy Goosey of Faulking Around, Ben.
Hello.
So...
I am not as tired as I was last time.
No, I'm not.
Which is odd because I went to bed at 4 in the morning.
You did.
And then got up at 9 and we just went straight to the cinema.
Yeah. And what did we see?
There's this new film out. It's called Ghost in the Shell. And we decided that instead of watching that on DVD...
Yes.
We would go to watch the Avengers instead.
Ah, yes. For the second time.
For the second time because we watched it on Thursday.
We did. We watched it on its release day.
Just to break continuity, we're actually recording this on a Saturday.
We are.
Because I don't think we could go... We've proven that it's very difficult to not talk about it to each other.
Yeah, we've already discussed it in bits and parts.
And we keep telling each other to shut up because we just need to save it for the podcast.
I mean, we tell each other to shut up anyway.
I know, but this is specific.
Yeah. So we watched it on release day, on Thursday. So we've seen it twice. We saw it on Thursday, and we've seen it this morning.
We wanted
to refresh ourselves.
Yeah,
because
we
this
wanted
episode...
to have it in our heads before we went and did the podcast.
Yes.
Admittedly, we probably could have still done the podcast tomorrow, but
I
think both of us are quite excited about talking about this.
It's obviously a big mile point.
It's huge. I mean, when the credits roll, it says Marvel Studios, and then the I and the O of studio turn into the number 10.
Yeah.
You know, it's a big
the
emphasis.
beginning credits, isn't it?
Yeah, that's not a spoiler alert.
No, it's not. So that's going to be the main...
That's going to be the main bulk of our of what we're going to do
this.
today, because we obviously try and restrict ourselves with not going off on one for too long, but we feel
especially learning from Ready Player One, where
we did go on for quite a bit of time.
A little behind the scenes for that podcast. There was actually 3 hours of content that I meticulously worked through to get it down to a listenable amount.
We're gonna kind of just solidly try and bash this out pretty on the spot. But obviously that's going to be the main bulk of stuff, so we're not going to do quite as much as the other bits that we normally do, but I think we do have a very specific trailer that we'd like to discuss.
Yeah, so I'll go into the Venom trailer in a minute. Just 2 small bits of news this week.
Is it TJ Miller?
It's not.
Has he been acquitted of all things?
Every week I'm checking for you, but nothing yet.
Nothing for TJ Miller.
It's just callbacks.
Okay.
So the WWE film Fighting With My Family has been pushed back to 2019, which I know you're devastated about.
Yeah, I can't believe that I'm going to have to wait a whole extra 6 months to not see that film.
Steve Merchant film though. Remember?
Doesn't matter.
It's film 4 as well. Film 4 produced.
Okay.
Which is strange.
A lot of good stuff is.
Yeah, and just rolling out, Jumanji 3 has been confirmed for Christmas 2019.
Okay, that's interesting. They're calling it. I suppose it is in the same continuity, isn't it? So yeah.
Yeah, so Jumanji 3...
Christmas 2019.
Confirmed by Sony chairman Tom Rothman.
Is it going to be the same cast, though?
Who knows at this point?
The biggest selling point of that film is the cast. If it was a different cast, I don't think I'd have enjoyed that film nearly as much. The cast sell it so well.
Well, we've got a year and 6 months.
We need to get through Christmas 2018 first before we get into anything.
We've got a hell of a year of movies still to come.
Yeah.
So we're just at the starting point, really, I guess.
I mean, we're not. We're in May.
Nothing else has mattered until this point.
No. We've been waiting for Avengers to come out because everything else for this year, like in one of our previous ones, it's the film I'm most looking forward to. And I do believe we've peaked.
Yeah.
Potentially.
God, okay.
Not unless they shoehorn in a Black Panther 2.
Or Ghost in the Shell 2. That'll get you. I
thought you said Ghost in the Shell suit. So then I kept thinking of Scarlett Johansson dressed in trackies. And I'm thinking, why would that work? Oh. That'd be an infinitely
so stylish.
Film. I know, right? She'd pull anything off, though, to be fair. She did in that film, though.
Yeah.
Oh, Divergent. Is a bad film series.
Yes, it is. So going straight into trailers then, because there is bits and pieces of more news, but I'm going to put that into next week's podcast because there's a lot.
Nothing breaking.
Nothing groundbreaking. We've got a couple of trailers that have come out of CinemaCon. There's an Aquaman trailer that's floating around.
Really looking forward to that.
It's not on public release yet, so we're going to have to wait. Maybe in the coming weeks it will come out.
Much like in true podcast fashion for us, we've recorded this a day early.
Yeah.
That's going to end up being released tonight.
Yeah. So, obviously last week, I said Tom Hardy had said that we were getting a second trailer.
Yeah, and then he followed through.
He did follow through.
Good old Tom Hardy.
Good old Tom Hardy following through all the time. It's what he's known for.
Yep.
So originally, because I was still editing when things started to leak, and an 8-second clip, which is what is the end of the trailer, where Venom is shown.
Yeah, the head kind of.
The head coming up saying "We are Venom." That 8-second clip was spread everywhere, and I thought that was all we were going to get for a while. But Sony quite quickly put the trailer out.
It seems that they learned from a lot of their mistakes. I think but to be fair, Marvel did quite badly because the Avengers Infinity War trailer was played at Comic-Con, and then it was obviously leaked online, but they then didn't release the trailer for quite some time afterwards. Yeah. They should have just released it straight away because they knew people are seeing it. Mm-hmm. So Sony have done well by going, this has already come out, let's just send it out. And it's worked for their favour because the trailer is really good.
It is. A lot of it is from the first trailer, but they've obviously put the Venom effects over the top of it now.
Because there's when he's on the motorcycle.
When he's on the motorcycle, on the
lab cars bed. Are just crashing,
yes.
But it turns out the cars are actually crashing because the symbiote is...
The what?
The symbiote.
The what?
The symbiote.
The symbiote.
The symbiote?
Symbiote.
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 So this
genre.
I can't talk.
You really hate almost every way it's said because nobody in the trailer says symbiote.
No.
They say the Jenny Slate character.
The Jenny Slate character says
symbiote.
No, she says symbiote.
Symbiote. Okay. Which is
symbiote? Symbiote.
We've said it so many times now. I don't know which way is correct.
It's symbiote. She says.
Right.
And because I watched this trailer back about 3 times, just trying to look for little bits and pieces in it, as the Venom fan I am, and I kept listening to it. I was like, have I been saying this wrong all my life? So I went back to the 90s cartoon of Spider-Man, which is the first introduction of Spider-Man to me, and found the clip of where he's got the symbiote suit, and they say symbiote. I was like, okay, so it is symbiote. Can she just not say it? Because no one else says it in the trailer.
But the thing is, it's I don't think it's necessarily that she's saying it wrong. It's just how she pronounces it.
She's saying it wrong.
But is she?
She needs the Oldenreich acting coach.
Oh, the alleged acting coach.
Yes.
Time will tell.
To help her out. But
I just because
it's really jarring for me.
It's also annoying a lot of people.
Yeah,
because a lot of people on Twitter are saying, "Oh my god, is this how it's pronounced?" And people going, "She's saying it wrong." And again, it's just one of those words where you can say it differently. It's not how you like to hear it, but that's how she says it.
It's really jarring. It's going to annoy me in the final product.
I think
it's annoying me in this.
When's it released? October. So you've got all those months to just get over it.
It's not going to happen. I'm a very bitter person.
I think you're going to go into that film and be like, I really hate the way they say symbiote. And then it's going to happen and you're going to be like, I hate that. And then you're going to be like, this film's good.
Maybe,
I think you're just going to settle in.
Or it's going to annoy me so much that I hate the film and I go in and get the Power Rangers treatment of it.
Yeah, I don't think that'll happen for you.
Yeah,
I think you're either going to love it or hate it. I don't think you're going to be surprised at how much you love it because I think it's going to be a good film and you'll enjoy it.
So, the trailer itself, it starts out and we see what looks like a spaceship crash or a train wreck of sorts.
So I think it's a spaceship. Well, I mean, because it's heavily implied that it's come from space anyway.
Yes,
and they've got the 2 symbiotes in the containers. Which I think
the interesting thing for me on this thing, which I'm not seeing a lot of people talking about, so I don't know if I'm wrong in this, but it looks like there's spider webbing coming off the ship and onto the ground in that scene. Now Tom Holland's been seen on site for filming as well.
Yeah, potentially. Maybe he assists in the
safe landing?
Maybe.
Whatever?
I don't know. It could be anything.
It could not even be webbing, but it looks like it.
The thing about it is if Tom Holland has been on set, he'd have fucking told us by now.
That's
because he is a hole in a water butt. He is the biggest leak of everything. So, I'm amazed that he wasn't like, oh no, I can't say that. I'm going to do a massive spoiler there.
Stop it.
I had to really stop myself. So something crashes. It's whatever the scenario is. The symbiotes are captured.
Yeah, they get picked up by Life Foundation. Who is an organisation that was set up during the Cold War time in the Marvel comics, and millionaires could pay to live in an underground bunker and survive the survive the pending nuclear war that everyone thought was going to come between the US and Russia.
To be fair, that was very real.
Yeah.
So the Life Foundation is built on a genuine fear, which is quite interesting to have it actually be like that.
Obviously, it doesn't happen.
No.
So they use the funding.
Riz Ahmed just decides to.
Riz Ahmed's playing.
Fuck shit up.
Can't remember the name. It's
Ulysses Claw.
It's not Ulysses Claw. No.
Damn, I'm thinking of a different film.
Who's he playing? Carlton Drake.
Yeah. Someone who's got 2 first names.
Yeah, which normally really annoys me.
Even though Carlton should be a last name.
As long as he does dance, I'm happy. So, the Life Foundation experiment on the Venom symbiote in the comics. They take it and they learn that each symbiote has 5 seeds within it. They extract the seeds and those turn into 5 separate symbiotes, which they attach to their own security personnel to create their own little safety army. These 5 turn into Agony, Lasher, Riot, Scream, and Phage. So these 5 are what the Life Foundation create. I think they're going to be the big bads. I think the Life Foundation are going to create these from Venom. Maybe not all 5 of these symbiotes, because I don't think there's enough characters there to do it.
There's 2 symbiotes though, and within each symbiote there are 5 seeds.
Right.
So would that not technically mean that we have a potential of 10?
Yeah.
So the first symbiote that's created
I think the second one's going to be Carnage.
Carnage, okay, so that's the biggest thing people are taking away from this.
But I don't think we're going to get Carnage in this film.
I think we are, but I think it's going to be exceptionally brief, and I think this is Sony setting up their own cinematic universe by having... Because it's heavily rumoured that it's Woody Harrelson playing
he's on
Cletus something.
Cletus Cassidy. He's on the cast list, but has no name against it.
Which could only mean he's playing someone pretty big, and they're trying to keep it out.
There's another 3 actors on there with no names against them, but they've not been in major things.
So they could potentially be the other symbiotes there.
Yeah, they could be. The only one that is on there that's interesting is actor Scott Hayes. So he's down to apparently play Toxin.
Okay.
Which is very interesting. So Toxin is the combination child of Carnage and Venom symbiotes. I don't know if that's going to be true or not, or if it is just a rumour that's made its way on there.
The thing is, though, with all of this, because we know next to nothing about this film...
Yeah.
The only thing that people can pull from it is everything that's in Venom comics.
Yeah.
And so everyone is looking at it, throwing everything at it, going, well, if that's the name, then this is probably what's going to happen. Whereas Sony are probably going, that's a cool name, but we're going to do this with them instead. So I think people in that respect are going to be a little bit disappointed with how maybe characters are going to play out.
Yeah.
But I still think at the same time, I think a lot of this is going to be quite just roll with it.
Yeah.
And I think that might upset a lot of fans.
I think it's going to be, as I said, I don't think Carnage is going to be the big bad in this. I think he'll turn up at the end.
Yeah.
And he will be the setup for Venom 2.
Venom 2.
The abilities the suit displays, or the symbiote displays, is interesting. Because obviously in the comics he has the web abilities, but in this it's all the tendrils, which is the best way you can go about it if you can't use Spider-Man.
Yeah, I think that's a really interesting way to do it, because obviously they don't have Spider-Man, but they can use him. Until it comes out, it's very difficult to be kind of like, this was the direction they were going in, so...
Yeah, but hopefully we'll get an idea of the story over the next couple of months.
I think they'll probably release, like, a little bit extras, but...
We'll get ideas over interviews and stuff as time comes up. We've got Comic-Con coming up.
Like the Jurassic World trailer. The first trailer that came out is like, okay, we're just going in to save a bunch of the dinosaurs and we've got to fight this volcano. The volcano is the bad guy.
From the Volvic adverts.
I just thought you were going to say from the Tommy Lee Jones film.
Oh.
Or that episode of Doctor Who that had Peter Capaldi in it before he was the Doctor.
The one in Pompeii?
Yep.
I know.
Oh, well done you. Where he also played a Scottish person. Because why bother doing an accent?
Yeah. Taking a note of Gal's book.
Yeah, the second trailer for Jurassic World has opened up what the actual plot is, and that's a subplot. It's actually about how they want to weaponize the raptors again.
Yep.
So I reckon this will be kind of like... The initial trailer was kind of like a very generic and was sort of borderline pointless. This is really the first trailer where you go, wow, what's going on? I think the only thing to take away from this is that very last bit where he is... with the suit's building on him, and he's like, who are you? And then the whole thing comes over his face and it says, we are Venom, and it's fucking incredible.
Yeah. That 8-second clip would have done me for a while.
Yeah.
But the fact I got the trailer afterwards adds to it.
It's
I'm more excited now.
Yeah. I liked that the voice, because I had to ask you, I was like, who is the voice of Venom? Because I thought it was going to be just like, it could be another person's voice, because...
Benedict Cumberbatch.
Mocap the voice.
Mocap the voice, and Andy Serkis is Venom.
Venom.
Running around
doing shit.
Zoidberging it.
Zoidberging it.
Perfect. We are Zoidberg.
We are Zoidberg. Why not Zoidberg?
No, the voice is Tom Hardy.
The voice is Tom Hardy, which is good, because I thought it was going to be somebody else, because it's an alien, effectively, so it could have its own voice, but because it's attached to him, and it's an amalgamation of him, effectively, it still uses his voice.
Yeah. But yeah, that's out in October.
Yes.
I can't remember the date, but
16th.
Oh, well done. Is that a guess?
Yeah.
I'm going to go 20th. And we will see.
One of those has got to be a Friday, or it'll be close to a Friday, though, isn't it?
Maybe.
Because it's going to be released on a Thursday, isn't it? Wait, what did you say, 20th?
Yeah.
Oh, yours is a Saturday.
Is it?
Yeah, mine is a Tuesday. So
20th, it might be when we see it then.
True. Or we might just not see it.
Or we might not.
Because why bother?
Yeah.
If the podcast is still going, then No, I mean,
I'm sure the podcast
if
will
the
be
podcast
going.
is still going, yeah, but we won't be on it.
No, we
we've
won't
handed over the rights to other people.
Tom Holland.
And Tom Hardy.
Yep.
Folking around.
Tomming around. But speaking of
Tom Holland.
Yeah, let's finally get into Avengers.
Oh yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, so this is the penultimate. Well, it's not the penultimate, is it? But it's the, I guess, start of the end for the 10 years of Marvel films we've been having.
So it's kind of. It's the 19th film.
It's the 19th film.
So then we're going to have Ant-Man.
Which will be 20th.
20.
Which is strange. You would have thought this would be like the big round number.
I mean, they've been doing it in kind of like sixes, haven't they? So.
I guess so, yeah.
Then there'll be Captain Marvel.
Next year, yeah.
Yep, and then Avengers Part 2, effectively. So that'll be 4 films' time. Just to think it's going to happen in a year, there's still going to be like another 4 films to come.
That's crazy. So, yeah, Avengers Infinity War.
It was originally Part 1, wasn't it?
It was Part 1.
But now they've got another name for the second film, which they're not going to release because it's a massive spoiler.
I imagine it would be, yeah.
Thanos dies.
Is that what it's called?
It's Control Z.
Undo. So you said that you wanted box office numbers earlier.
I do want box office numbers earlier because I want to know. Even though it's only been out for like 4 days, I reckon it's probably going to have had
Well, I can give you the
a heavy opening.
I can give you the information for the Thursday release.
Yeah.
So it is the largest MCU Thursday box office opening at 39 million, beating out Age of Ultron, which was at 27.6.
That's a huge step up anyway.
Massive. It's the 4th largest Thursday premiere. It's still behind Force Awakens, Last Jedi, and Harry Potter Deathly Hallows Part 2.
That's understandable, to be fair.
Yeah, I think it's being predicted to do about 200 mil this weekend.
Okay, fair enough.
It's opening box office.
That's massive.
But considering when we went on Thursday, the cinema was full.
Cinema was full.
We went today at 10:30 in the morning. The cinema was full.
It's a weekend, admittedly.
Yeah, but it being a weekend, and when we came out, the queues were huge as well.
Yeah,
to go
queues
in.
were huge.
The movie's also set another record with the number of
people fell asleep.
No.
Ah, damn.
With the number of theatres in which it premiered. So this is a US only thing again.
Cool.
So it opened in 4,474 theatres across the US, making it the largest for both MCU and Disney films, but not of all time. Do you want to take a guess at what film has the largest opening?
I'm gonna say it's a Star Wars film.
Nope.
Is it Avatar?
It's not.
Is it something really inconsequential?
It really is.
Oh god, Cars 3.
You're not far off.
Cars
Same time.
2?
No, not Cars.
Oh,
bearing in mind it's not MCU or Disney.
Of course,
Cars
yeah.
Disney.
Oh, so it's not Sing, is it?
It's not. It's Despicable Me 3
Oh, I should have known that.
with 4,529.
Wow. To be fair though, to that,
kind of
it's
upsetting.
aimed at kids, and I imagine it would have been released in the summer holidays.
It
when
was
it
the summer holidays.
opened up more times for it to be
Yes.
to be open for kids to see.
Going back to talking about the weekend box office as well.
Yeah.
So predictions about 200 million, I think.
Yes.
It needs $250 million to break the US top,
Yeah.
which is The Force Awakens at 248 million, rounding up.
Yeah. Okay.
I think it's going to do it.
I genuinely think it will as well, because it's the first Avengers was like the 3rd highest grossing film of all time for quite some time.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I guess maybe the last like 5 years, whenever it was released. 2012, I want to say.
Yeah, because Black Panther knocked it off.
Knocked it off. And like obviously like Star Wars Force Awakens has kind of pushed its way up the list for more like recent things. I think adjusted for inflation, I think Gone with the Wind is the highest selling film of all time. But I brought this up a while ago to some people on the internet. That makes it sound weird, but like some of my friends, I posted it on Facebook and I was like, what could dethrone Avatar, Titanic? Obviously Black Panther has gone fairly close, but like this is like of all time.
Oh, you mean on the worldwide?
Worldwide all-time scale. I
Right.
believe it's still Avatar,
Mhm.
and then it's Titanic, and I guess now it's probably Black Panther, if not Force Awakens, I think. Or even,
Force Awakens is probably up there.
yeah, because I think Avengers Assemble is now behind Black Panther,
Yes.
but I think Force Awakens just pushed its way straight to the top, because who wasn't ready for another fucking Star Wars film? But I said, what would dethrone one of those two films? What can get close? It would have been The Force Awakens for me, potentially then the third one of the trilogy because of the hype built up to it. And I said, Infinity War Part 1 at the time is probably going to be that film because it's got so much before it. It's got such a lot of build to it. Yeah. Everyone is waiting for this film. And quite a lot of people were just kind of like, nah, won't do it. But what could then? What would be the next thing? And most people just went, it's not going to happen. We've had those guys at the top for too long. If anything was going to do it, it would have done it by now. And
I think Avengers is the only thing that's going to do it for a while.
It's either going to be Star Wars or Avengers that's going to do it. I don't think there's a property out there that's going to trump it.
Justice League 2.
Justice League 2, well, no, it's going to be Justice League 1.5, the Zack Snyder cut.
Oh, okay.
Where it's
that'll do it.
It's just a different sepia tone.
Yes. Okay, so we're going to do a spoiler-free one.
Yep.
And then we're going to do a spoiler one.
Spoiler one, yeah.
So
it might be quite brief to begin with, because then I'm just going to be like, Goose dies, Goose dies, Goose dies, Goose dies. Spoiler alert for Top Gun there.
So going into the spoiler-free one. I thought that Joss Whedon may have taken something, or been a part of this, because...
Maybe like a producer or something.
Yeah, maybe a producer, or something of that sort. Because he's famous for that one quote, make it dark,
I can
make
have
it gritty.
any woman I want and get away with it. The world is my oyster. I'm not a bad guy.
I'm not a good guy. I'm the guy.
The guy.
The alpha guy. Make it dark, make it gritty, but make them laugh afterwards.
Yes.
And that is prominent throughout this film.
Yeah. It is. I find that to be the flaw of the film, though.
Really?
Because whereas I find it funny when the things happen, my biggest gripe with Ragnarok is that Odin dies.
Mm-hmm. That's a spoiler for Ragnarok, so sorry about that.
That's fine, don't worry about it. Odin
gets mentioned in this,
Odin dies, and 5 minutes later, he's having that fight with Hulk, and he's like, yeah, I lost my hammer the other day, that was pretty crap. Not even a mention. It's because the humour aspect of it undercuts quite a lot of the drama.
Yeah, I'll bring that up later on about Thor and his reaction to that. So, who would you say the main character is in this film?
Do you know what? Watching it, or because top billing is always going to be Robert Downey Jr.
Right.
But like as far as the story goes, I'd say Doctor Strange because he's kind of got one of the bigger roles. Or it's not necessarily a bigger role, but it's like it's more important.
Okay.
Because a lot of his stuff is kind of like, I'm here to defend the planet, but also this dimension.
Yes.
And this is a threat to my dimension, I have to protect it. Whereas all the Avengers are kind of like, there's this big dude's coming down to blow up the Earth, we need to stop him. Whereas Doctor Strange has like a bigger picture aspect of it. Doctor Strange at no point has any kind of like relationship to Thanos.
No.
Thanos is just the next person who wants to come along and do something. But the Iron Man character, Drax, Gamora, Nebula, all kind of personal aspects to them. But at the same time, I feel like Doctor Strange has more of a role in stopping him.
Yeah.
And I think that's the way it's kind of like worked out, which is for better or for worse.
Here's the main character.
It's Thor, isn't it?
No, it's Thanos.
Oh, well that's...
Thanos is the main character.
Misleading.
No. Thanos is the main character. It's his... You get his story in this film. We've obviously heard all the rumblings about him over the 10 years of cinematography that's led to this. And it's him in this. And you're saying that Doctor Strange doesn't have these ties and things and everyone else is running around.
So when you said main character, I misinterpreted that as hero.
Oh, okay.
Main hero. No. Thanos is the villain. Who is the main...
Oh, okay.
Okay, so it didn't occur to me to say that Thanos was the bad guy. Thanos probably could potentially have more lines than anybody else because he's in so much more of it.
Yeah. But you saying that everyone else is sort of running around like, oh, the big bad's coming, we got to do this. I disagree in that same vein that there's 4 or 5 mini stories going on and everyone has their own goal within that set story. So you've got Avengers on Earth, they've got their own story. You've got Tony Stark and Doctor Strange. You've got the Guardians of the Galaxy and Thor, they're doing their own thing as well. You've got all of these little stories that are all focused around your main character, Thanos, and he has his own story going on.
Considering it's a part 1 film, the third act is incredible.
Yeah.
It's not just, here's what the next film's going to be.
No.
This is a film in its own right.
Yeah.
And that works really well for it.
So the main story focusing around Thanos. Is Thanos going after these Infinity Stones.
It's after the Infinity Stones.
It's the Infinity Stones that have been established throughout this universe since
it would have been
First Avenger.
Captain First Avenger, because that's where the Tesseract is.
So what's that? 9 years? When was First
Thor
Avenger?
Was
no, First Avenger.
Yeah, it was the same year, wasn't it?
Yes.
Because it would have been 2011.
So 7 years.
7 years. 7 years to get 6 stones.
So it's him gathering up these 6 stones, which will give him the power he needs to correct the universe to what he believes.
The way he sees it.
Yes.
Yeah. His end game for this, and it's one of the gripes I've got with this film, is his motivation.
Okay.
I'm not a fan of his reasoning for wanting to do this.
You're not?
No.
I understand it.
Oh, no, I understand where he's coming from.
Right.
But I think when you take the Infinity Gauntlet storyline and go, this is the sort of stuff he's been doing, he's now become kind of like a rooted character, whereas he is the Mad Titan.
Yeah.
Now I don't see him as that.
I
don't see him as this crazy villain that could do anything and you've always got to be on your toes. Now it's a case of, it's like I've had the X Factor part of it now. I've got his tragic backstory and I don't really need that. I think as a character...
Are you sure? Because that's what you want in every Marvel villain.
No.
It's what but it is.
Not at all.
Killmonger has his own backstory, so you get on board with the character. Loki, own backstory, so you get on board with the character.
I feel like...
character development, so you get on board with the character. It's the Marvel thing of establishing the villain as their own independent character, so you can feel some form of empathy for them.
I feel no empathy for Ronan the Accuser, one of my favourites. He's just.
But is that because of the actor? Because you like Lee Pace?
Lee Pace. I really like Lee Pace as an actor, and I think he brings a lot of gravitas to that role. But he's a villain who, unfortunately, is a bit throwaway. But like, he's got his backstory is that he's just a Kree fanatic, and he doesn't agree with something that's going on with the Kree, like political system, effectively. So he's doing his own thing. That's all the setup you have for him, and he just goes fucking crazy. He's what I kind of expected Thanos to be more like. Like, he's just got a brief bit, but he is nuts and he is super powerful and you don't mess with him.
Are you shocked about Thanos, though, considering we've never seen him crazy in all the time that we've seen him? You don't see him like that in Guardians.
And no, in Guardians I think that we don't see him as crazy, but he's terrifying. The way he's just sitting in the chair, he's menacing, and he's kind of like...
It's his presence.
Yeah, it's his presence.
Which you also get in this, I think.
Do you know what? I'm taken out of it, and for the biggest reason I find really difficult to get on board with this film is the CGI. Because I can't see a physical presence there.
Yeah.
And it's kind of upsetting, because...
Thanos' look is
even
like
the
the Hulk.
No, I think the Hulk looks like he could be physically there.
No, I don't like...
But I want to be able to look like I could touch it. None of that for Thanos. It just looks like a mocap character. I think Snoke looks better. Because he looks like he could
disagree to an extent. Because on the second view...
Well, you're wrong!
You can see things like small hairs on the face and stuff.
No,
and it's amazing.
I see the small hairs and stuff, but again, it just looks like... all I see there is a small hair where someone's had to go... Right, well, this 1 and 0 means that he'll have a hair there, and this 1 and 0 means he has a hair there. It just looks CGI, and that's what takes me out of the film. And it's a great film. It sounds like I'm really bitching on it and like having a real downer. It's the takeaway from this film is it's fucking incredible. It is really, really good. The only thing that lets me down is the CGI, and I think in some places it's used well. I think Vision is great. But, like, bits with Thanos, I think when he's got his armour on, he's kind of shiny and you can't really see a lot of it and it looks better, but he spends most of it in his little tank top.
Yeah. His Vin Diesel outfit.
His Vin Diesel outfit. Vin Diesel knocking it out of the park as well.
Oh, yeah.
I'm assuming it's still... Oh, no, he is credited.
He is credited. He's Groot.
He is Groot. That's also one of the best jokes in the film.
Yes.
Joke-wise, I know we said about it earlier, a lot of the jokes do undercut some of the tension, and I guess that's maybe a Whedon trait. That
may have passed over.
These films are kind of continuing. But I think a lot of the time, you can just have serious moments.
There's a lot of humour and a lot of dark bits. I think the dark bits heavily outweigh the humorous bits. The humorous bits are hilarious. Even on second viewings, they're funny. And they're things that you could go for a third viewing, and I'm sure I'd still laugh.
Yeah.
And then the dark and gritty and serious moments are hard-hitting enough that it doesn't feel like you're watching a comedy.
Yeah, I think the hard-hitting stuff is really, really good, except when it's immediately followed by a joke. And that happens sometimes.
It does, but it's with the characters that you'd expect it to happen with. It's your Quill, your Stark.
I do appreciate that, but at the same time I feel like the thing with Stark is that he doesn't really take anything seriously. He just quips everything. And that was one of the things with Doctor Strange. He's a very similar sort of person. But in this, he's dialed right up to, this is really serious, I'm going to take it seriously. Yeah. And sometimes I wish there'd been more of that. Saying that, all of the Guardian stuff is just brilliant.
Well, James Gunn is executive producer on this, so...
I think we've talked previously whereby, like, if it's got Guardians in it, if it's a Guardians property, he's still involved to make sure these characters are handled the right way.
Yeah.
First introduction to them is when they're on the spaceship, and then there's just a song playing, and it's like, this could just be...
Rubber Man.
Yeah, this could just be ripped straight out of a Guardians film. Yeah. It's done so well.
Yeah.
Well, and I enjoyed that.
It's Gunn on board. All the producers on there, you can tell, have all sort of been pulled in for their own experiences. Jon Favreau's there. Executive producer.
To make sure
Kevin Feige is there.
Asshole.
Do you know Kevin Feige's been doing this since the first X-Men film?
Yeah, he's literally been like, from the word go, has been trying to get this off the ground for so long.
A fair play to the guy.
That man is worth so much money.
Because when you know that, that's the year 2000.
Yeah.
This is 18 years of work for this guy. I guess we've been aboard for 18 years.
But we've only
this has only been 10
years. Yeah.
So that's...
You have a new appreciation for how much effort has gone into this.
So I know we've sort of rambled on throughout this entire affair, but...
I guess, like,
I think that's everything that I wanted to cover in the non-spoiler bit. Anyway.
Again, I've just got, like, some stuff. Thanos' logic for wanting to get the Infinity Stones, which is the thing that I've got a grievance with, is that the universe is finite, its resources are finite, but the people in it can keep going forever.
Yes.
So he wants to get rid of half the population of the universe in order that the other half can then continue to live.
Yeah, because he said that he did it with Gamora's planet.
He did it with Gamora's planet. He did it with his own.
No, his own planet
failed. His own planet failed.
He suggested it with his own planet, and now it lies in ruin.
Yes, but he still lives there.
I guess.
But does he?
Well, he lives on the ship, I imagine.
No, he now lives in a hut.
Lives in a pineapple under the sea.
Ah, there is
there is
already a SpongeBob joke in this.
Oh, I've been beaten to it. Damn Russos.
I know, right? They got the humour. To be fair, the humour that is in this is spot on.
Yeah.
There's really good bits.
I thought there was going to be more writing stuff than there was. I thought there'd be people from like each of the
trying to make
franchises,
sure
but
stuff got
there wasn't.
Off the bat, Tony Stark gets called a douchebag.
Yeah.
And I think that's been 10 years in the fucking making.
Tony Stark gets a lot of comeuppance in this. Peter Parker tells him that it's his fault at some point.
And then he apologises straight away.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's one of the only ones where like he's almost been called out on his shit.
Yeah.
But at the same time, he just distances himself from it and doesn't take it in. A lot of stuff that people thought was going to happen from the trailer doesn't come to fruition.
They've done fantastically on this in terms of the fan theories have been almost all incorrect.
I think that's because they've done quite well at misleading you in the sense that there are scenes from the trailers we just don't get. Like some of them are kind of inconsequential. The big thing where Thanos arrives in his portal and he's talking, it's implied that that's going to be when he arrives to Earth and he's going to talk to people and do stuff. That never happens.
No.
The bit where like the Hulk is on Wakanda and they're running towards the thing.
Doesn't happen.
Hulk never actually turns up.
No.
Apart from a couple of good moments.
It's a really good point. The opening sequence, it establishes how much of a threat Thanos is. Because we've seen him and we've heard about it all this time. And then in this opening sequence, he demolishes the Hulk.
So, the opening sequence, I mean, you'll have seen it, otherwise you wouldn't be listening to this. But the opening sequence undoes Thor Ragnarok.
Yeah.
Because although Thor says he slaughtered half my people, where are the other half?
Unless there was 2 ships, but I don't think so.
So I don't know what the current situation with Asgard is.
Well, Asgard's gone.
Asgard is a people.
Oh, right, of course.
So the people of Asgard that are on this spaceship, supposedly, if we take what Thor says, half of them are dead, which means another half of them are still alive. Does that mean that Thanos arrived, saw the ship, actually killed half of them, and let half of them go?
I don't think so.
See, I'm wondering whether or not...
Because that ship is in pieces.
That ship is in pieces, but that ship is in pieces maybe because the other half was sent away.
Maybe.
Heimdall says, let the dark magic run through me one last time. I'm wondering whether or not he got out half of his people in a similar way.
Maybe.
It's really interesting to see that he was the summoner of that, though. And, like, he needed the Bifrost to maybe harness it, but, like, him as a person could do that transportation system.
Well, he needed the sword as well, because he has the sword.
But then he was like, let the magic flow through me one last time. I really, really enjoyed that. Obviously never going to get him again.
No.
Unless it's, like, retrospective scenes and stuff. But the Thor Ragnarok thing is saving the people, and the people are all effectively dead.
Yeah.
And that kind of annoyed me.
Everybody's
dead, Dave.
Everybody is dead. Everybody is dead, Dave.
Arnold.
Yeah, that opening scene, loads of people die. I mean, we can go into it because it's a spoiler section. So, off the bat, we see Heimdall dies.
Heimdall dies, he gets stabbed because he said, oh no, but Loki's there. He's like captured or something. He's like, give me the Tesseract. And he's like, well, it doesn't matter because we've got a Hulk.
Yeah.
And then the Hulk screams into him and just proceeds to pummel the crap out of Thanos. Thanos gathers himself and then beats the crap out of the Hulk.
Throat punches him.
Yeah, and there's a lot of good choreography there.
Yeah.
Because you never really know of Thanos. Well, I mean, you know he's a big, powerful guy. He's literally muscle.
Yeah.
But it's really good to see him as like a brawler. In that he can get dirty, he can get fighting, and he just kicks the shit out of the Hulk. Yeah. And then kind of does that body slam thing, like the Hulk sort of does to Loki and Thor. So I was quite happy to see a big fight between them two.
So Heimdall's Bifrost takes the Hulk to Earth.
To Earth, which is what we get from the trailer.
Yeah. That's probably one of the few things that people speculated correctly, is that Hulk in this is the Silver Surfer's character. Yes.
So the Silver Surfer in the comic just crashes into the Sanctum Sanctorum and then proceeds to tell everyone that, well, Doctor Strange, that Thanos is coming, and that kicks into motion everything. As far as changes from the comic book goes, that's a necessary one because they don't have, well, they do now, but I guess they didn't at the time. Also, it would be weird to shoehorn him in there.
Yeah, it wouldn't work. But back on the ship, Heimdall gets killed because of this act.
Yep.
Loki hands over the Tesseract, then offers his services as a guide on Earth.
He offers his fidelity.
Yes.
I genuinely thought he was going to cut off his balls.
But gives a glance to his brother upon saying that he is Loki, God of Mischief, Prince of Asgard. Odin's son.
Which he says with remorse.
Yeah, Odin's son.
And
true king of Jotunheim?
Jotunheim.
Then phases in a knife and tries to
kill Thanos.
Who stops him with his newly acquired Space Stone.
And then just
chokes
him to
the
death.
shit out of Loki.
Yep.
He is the first big...
He's the first big death. And he turns blue. Blood comes out of his nose.
He turns blue in both senses, that he's been choked to death and that he is a frost giant.
So it's one of the ones where you kind of go, well, Loki's dead. That'll be fine. He'll come back. He's dead.
Yeah.
He's a
pre-click death.
Yeah.
Thanos leaves the ship with his group and uses the Power Stone to detonate what's remaining of its pieces.
Yep, and the ship just blows up, and there are just bodies floating through space. Thor was on the spaceship.
Yeah. I mean, he gets picked up later on by the Guardians.
We all know he was going to, but I didn't think that he'd be on a spaceship when it blew up.
No.
That's pretty big.
But then the death toll just The death toll stops for a while. We get all the characters sort of come together. So Stark meets up with Strange and Banner. They end up.
But to be fair, that's because Doctor Strange finds Tony Stark. The back and forth between Strange and Stark is brilliant.
Yeah.
Because they're kind of both the same person, but one of them's aware of the gravitas of the situation, and one of them's Tony Stark. I don't know what the actual sentence is, but like he calls him a douchebag. It's taken 10 years to get here. No one has called him a douchebag.
That's on the ship, isn't it? I think that's on the ship when they're in space.
I thought it was when they're in the Sanctum Sanctorum.
Maybe he gets called it twice. Deserves it.
Pretty does deserve it. But Thanos is the big flying donut comes down because he sends the children of Thanos to go get
the Black Order. The two
Infinity Stones that are on Earth. One of which is the Time Stone with Doctor Strange, one of which is the Mind Stone with Vision.
So at this point, he has the Power and Space Stones.
Yep. Because he decimated Xandar, as it turns out. So he's obviously done the half thing to the people on Xandar.
Yeah. The Reality Stone is still in nowhere from the Guardians film.
Yep.
And no one knows where the Soul Stone is.
Yes, the big contention of this, going into the film as well, is that no one knew what the Soul Stone was.
Everyone had their theories.
Yep.
They're probably all wrong unless someone is really fucking clever.
If someone managed to figure out what this was, then fair play to them. It's quite obscure. So I was really happy with it.
Yeah.
It's one of the moments where you kind of, it's quite a heart wrenching moment, and it's one of the times where I'm on board with Thanos, his character development. I know I bitched about it, but it's one of the times where I kind of go, I feel that this guy genuinely feels this, you know.
So I was going to bring this up, that you get the likes of Loki and Strange. They give up the stones quite easily, per se.
Yeah.
And they both know the gravitas of the situation. If they give... Sure, on the ship, Thor could die. That's fine. Because then Loki can still die. He won't get the stone. Problem solved. Strange. Everyone around him could die. That's fine. He could die. The stone is safe. It's already been established if he dies, his spells continue in this film.
He says... Because like the Voldemort guy wants to grab the stone off him, but there's a spell around it so that it can't be done. And then he says, "Then I'll take it off your corpse." And he says something along the lines of,
"Good luck trying to take something that's got a spell on it from a dead man."
Yeah,
I'd try and break a dead man's spell.
And I don't think that necessarily means that it can't be broken.
I don't, but I think it's a hell of a measure.
I think that dude is clearly magic based anyway. I still think he'd have been able to. I mean,
he wouldn't have, but at this time.
At this time, no.
But yeah, these guys give it up really sort of easily in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah.
And it really annoyed me that these mighty heroes or intellectuals at this point would just sort of give it up. But then upon watching it again, it only adds to you seeing Thanos as this greater person. Throughout the entire film, he's saying, everybody knows that this is the right thing to do, but I'm the only one with the will to do it. And everyone giving this up, they're like, you can't kill this guy. Here, have the stone. My will succumbs to yours. It's proving that his will, he is still willing to do anything. And we see this as the film obviously goes on, that his will just cannot be broken. So
you're suggesting that people are surrendering the stones to him because
their wills are not as strong as his.
Okay, I see where you're coming from.
They're like...
I don't take that away from this, though.
It's a long stretch, don't get me wrong, but I think it definitely sort of shows him being stronger.
I'm on board with it. I think it's just a little bit... The problem I have with the Doctor Strange one, like I think the Loki one, I think he just outright didn't want Thor to die. And I think he thought, no matter what happens, he's got our stone, maybe we can stop him getting any of the other ones. Give him the stone, we'll get away, we'll figure it out later.
Yeah.
That just doesn't happen. And I quite like that because then it's kind of like consequences.
Yeah.
You know, and it still happens that way. The Doctor Strange one, it is established by Doctor Strange himself that if it comes to saving the stone or saving Tony Stark and Spider-Man, he will let them die.
Yeah.
And then he does a total 180.
He does.
But this is after a scene when he uses the time stone to go forward into other dimensions. The Doctor Strange stuff I really love.
He goes into his mind palace.
He goes into his mind palace.
It's the exact same thing he does in Sherlock with the whole sort of twitching and
it's
looking around and pulling things out.
Kind of, but at least the mind palace isn't in another dimension.
That's true.
But he kind of like he goes into like alternative futures where he plays out the scenario of Thanos getting the stones and how to stop him, and he's like, I saw 14,605,000.
You can remember, well done.
And they were like, how many did we win? And he went, 1. And I thought, okay, he's got a plan. He knows how to stop. He knows that there is a chance that they can do this. Their plan, upon watching it, they're with Star-Lord, Drax, Mantis, and then you've got Spider-Man, Tony Stark, and Doctor Strange.
And then Nebula joins as well.
And then Nebula joins later. And they're kind of all fighting Thanos on Titan.
Yeah.
And it's a great fight. But like Tony Stark says, we've got to work together. We can't just like go at him willy-nilly. We've got to work together and do it. And the plan almost works.
Yeah.
That's why I really like... And it's Star-Lord that lets everyone down. Really, really, really hated that. Then Thanos gets the upper hand then. And then just proceeds to just knock everyone out. Doesn't really kill anyone.
No.
He probably could, but he
definitely
doesn't do it. And I think that's in part because he probably still thinks that if he's killing these people, that's not the level of people need to die randomly to make it fair. If I'm killing these people, it's because they're trying to stop me. That's not fair on them.
It's two-faced logic, isn't it?
And then Tony Stark gets stabbed.
Yeah.
Was not prepared for that.
No.
I genuinely thought Tony Stark was going to be one of the ones... I mean, okay, he doesn't die, but it looks like he's gonna. Yeah. It looks fucking brutal.
The first time we watched it, there was a guy next to me during the credits with his girlfriend, and she was like, "Oh, I thought Tony Stark was going to die," and he just goes, "Of course he fucking wasn't. You're not going to kill him off. He's the only one bringing in fucking money." I was like, oh, even the casuals know now.
Oh yeah. But yeah, like Iron Man gets stabbed, and then Thanos is literally about. There's a level of recognition with him as well, because Thanos says.
Well, he knows who he is.
He knows who he is, but then he said, like, when I kill half the people on your planet, I hope the other half remember you. Yeah. And like, there's a level of recognition, like, you've done an amazing job here. You've still lost, but you have a strong heart, and I appreciate that.
An iron heart? That's a different character.
Nano heart. But then Stephen Strange says, no, stop. I'll give you the stone. Just let him live. No tricks, because...
No, because tricks are for kids.
Shut up.
Then he snaps Stephen Strange's neck.
Oh yeah. And then he drops to his knees and goes, no! But then he just gives him the stone.
Yeah, pulls it out of the stars.
Brilliant. The Doctor Strange stuff, I'm a big fan, obviously, if anybody's listened to the previous episodes, I'm a big fan of the Doctor Strange film. They've used him really, really well. Didn't like the total 180 that he did, but I can only assume, because when he did it, and then towards the end, Tony Stark says, "Why did you do that?" And and then he says, "We're in the end game."
And we transfer to Earth, don't we?
Yeah, and what I think that means is the only way I saw us winning, I had to give it to him. We had to lose in order for us to be able to then win.
See, it's at this point when he says that and we go to Earth, that doubt is setting into my mind that Thanos is going to actually do this. Been so conditioned to actually go into the film and like. Well, it's obvious Thanos is just going to click his fingers and it's all going to happen. At that point, I'm like, what's going to happen on Earth then? Is something actually going to happen where this doesn't occur now? Is someone going to take it?
Nope. No. He does it. He succeeds.
He does succeed.
Thor pulls a Superman.
Yes.
From Justice League, where it just turns up and kind of saves the day. Don't get me wrong, loved every minute of it. When the the Rainbow Bridge sort of thing happens, and then the axe comes out, I was expecting it to be the kind of thing from from Ragnarok, where the hammer goes around and kills everyone. I thought that was going to happen, but I think they were like, "No, it's serious."
Yeah. No, I think we're on King Thor. So he said this is the king's weapon.
Well, he is.
So Thor gets.
He is a king, but he technically doesn't have any people left.
Yeah.
You could argue, although he never says it, he is the last of his kind. As far as we're aware.
What I liked was that when he gets picked up by the Guardians, they don't treat him as a god. They treat him as the alien that the Asgardians are known by.
Yeah, because they are aliens, effectively.
They are aliens.
Yeah. They
Except
also
on Earth,
treat
where they
him
are gods.
as a magnificent specimen of a man.
He's not a dude. He's a man. You're a dude.
It's like, you're one sandwich away from being fat.
Such a great quip.
The Guardian stuff is really, really good. And then he's like, no, you shan't. Like, are you lowering your voice?
Peter Quill's putting on a fake voice to stand up
to Thor,
yeah.
which is not going to end well.
No.
The Thor stuff and the Guardians I really enjoyed.
There's so many great little stories that are happening in this.
Yeah.
So you got the Guardians and Thor, which then split off into two groups. So the Guardians go off to nowhere. The Guardians in that case being Drax, Gamora, Mantis, and Star-Lord. Groot, Rocket, and Thor go off to get Thor a new weapon.
Yep.
Who then end up back on Earth eventually. You got the Avengers on Earth, which is everyone except Hawkeye, Ant-Man, Tony Stark.
And the people from Titan.
Yeah. It's just great.
It comes together really well.
Yeah.
Like, because everyone's off doing their own thing, but it feels like a natural, organic way for them to come... Because, like, they sort of all eventually just merge on Earth.
Yeah.
Apart from the people that are on... Well, no, sorry. The two groups merge on Earth and then two groups merge on Titan. Although the ones on Titan is kind of an accident.
Yes, that is. So, obviously, the biggest shock in this is the Soul Stone. The
Soul Stone, yes. So, the Soul Stone scene was just fantastic.
So, it turns out Gamora knows the location.
Yeah, but So, Gamora knows the location, but she lies to Thanos to say she never found it. But he's captured Nebula.
Yeah, he's tortured her.
Yeah, and it turns out Nebula is like 99% robot now.
Yeah.
Like, she was never that high before, but now it looks like she's basically a robot. I really never got that impression that she was that high a percentage. Because it was, every time I used to lose, he would replace a body part with a...
She lost a lot.
Yes, she clearly lost a lot. It's kind of nice to see their relationship as sisters has kind of grown. The bit where he's torturing her for her to give it up, I really thought that if Nebula was truly on the side, don't tell him, I think she needed to stop screaming.
I think it's kind of hard when you've got 3 Infinity Stones ripping at you.
I appreciate that I've never been ripped apart. I don't know how painful it is, but I feel like in this scenario, you want her to not say anything. You do all you can to stop.
Probably was.
I feel like she just needed to be the bigger person then and potentially just die.
And that's the same as Loki. Loki should have just let Thor die.
Let Thor die, but then I think Thanos would have probably just grabbed him and just snapped his neck.
But then he wouldn't have got the Tesseract. Because he's hidden it in a different dimension.
I feel like they'd have still found it.
But then...
It would have just taken longer.
No,
it's Raiders of the Lost Ark syndrome. They're digging in the wrong place, but they'll eventually find it.
Well, Gamora gives in and takes him to the location.
Yep.
Where...
Vlalmir or something. It's really random.
Where the Red Skull is.
Yes, we get basically a Dementor that turns up.
Yeah.
And just says a lot of exposition lines.
Yeah.
And then he kind of like comes into the foreground and it's Red Skull.
So glad that he's back.
Disappointed it wasn't Hugo Weaving.
No, it's Ross Mark.
It's someone
I don't
else
know
who's done it, but that's because Hugo Weaving has just severed all ties with it. He's never coming back. It was great to see him.
It was.
Genuinely didn't think he was going to be in it.
No.
Really, really happy with that.
I only picked up on it the second time. He was saying, I sought out the stones a long time ago. And throughout all of this, because you hear Stark say, Thanos has been in my head for 6 years, you go into the film and you're like, oh, it's just 10 years worth of Marvel films. It was only on the second time I was like, he's actually going to have been here for about 70 years.
Yeah, because he'd have done it from the first from World War. Yeah,
crazy.
Because like when that first happened, and he was like, "Yes, I saw out the stones previously, and it didn't work." And I was like, "What have you been eating for 70 years? What have you been doing for 70 years? Can you only just stand there and float? How have you not gone insane? There's no one to talk to."
He just rings up Toby Jones every now and then.
Toby Jones doing and then he's like, "Oh, what? You're a computer? What's one of those?" What do you mean we lost the war? Surely you guys carried on after I left. What do you mean you just stopped doing things? Who's Wonder Woman?
So, back on the planet of Red Skull and Thanos,
Red Skull,
the way to get the Soul Stone is you have to sacrifice one soul for
the Soul Stone.
It has to be someone you love.
It has to, this is it.
Someone you have connection with.
No, it's got to be like meaningful for you.
Yeah.
So the idea is technically that in order to succeed, if you go there alone, you sacrifice yourself. But obviously, he's got Gamora with him.
Well, you've got to give up, I guess, a part of yourself, essentially, isn't it, for it? And Gamora's given off an entire thing saying, you've lost. You don't love anything. You are just hatred and anger.
And he turns around and he's like crying.
She's like, that's pathetic.
Yeah, and because then like...
It's the Red Skull,
It's the Red Skull who says like, those tears aren't for him.
And then she clocks on.
She clocks what's going on. And then that's when like, because I said after the film, the music is on point with this.
Yeah.
The Avengers theme is used really, really well. Mm-hmm. But the music in this scene specifically, the dialogue goes like real muted, and like it kind of goes slow, and then the music that's playing is heartbreaking.
Yeah.
And even as like a mad titan that he is, this means a lot to him. This means a lot more than I thought he. He obviously really, really loves Gamora.
Yeah.
And he doesn't love Nebula, as it turns out.
No, well, Gamora's always been established as Thanos' favourite daughter.
And
Nebula constantly recites it. It's
the moment where you kind of go, he does truly love her as a daughter. And he says something like, I wasted my last chance to fulfill my destiny. I'm not going to waste it again. And so I don't know what the previous thing was.
Maybe it was his home planet.
Potentially. But like that's his thing. He's like, I had a chance to do this before and I missed it. I can't let this happen again. Yeah. You gotta die. So what you have to do is someone has to fall off this really high cliff. Yeah. And then like light throws into the sky, and then you end up in a dream sequence where you've got the
deaths aren't very nice in this, are they? They're not.
They're quite horrific. Like you never see her land, but you see her on the ground, and like there's blood there, and she's dead.
She's dead.
It's not like okay, you fell from a great height, you're a super being, you'll probably be a little bit okay at the very least. She's full on dead.
There is a pool of blood behind her head. She is dead.
She is well dead.
We see a Chitauri get his neck snapped by Nebula.
Yeah.
Like full on screen Jessica Jones style.
Not Jessica Jones style. Superman style. And then
I was more about season 2.
Oh.
With the mum.
Oh, the mum. I forget that she's in that because I hate that.
Who else do we see? We see
some of
Obsidian burning up.
Yeah.
We see his arm get chopped off.
Yeah.
Glaive gets stabbed. Moore gets frozen.
Which is the one that gets
Proxia
thrown out of the spaceship?
Moore.
Is that what you mean by frozen?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's thrown out of the spaceship.
Yeah, that bit is great.
Freezes in space.
Where like Iron Man comes down to like stop him from killing Strange, and he's like, my powers are greater than yours, you can't win. He's like, yeah, well, the kid's in more films. Yeah. And he's referencing Alien, where they jettison this guy out of the spaceship. And I just love, that's over instantly. Yeah. But that's just brilliant.
No more pop culture references.
No more pop culture references. It's like, no, you're done, shush, the adults are talking.
Tell them about how we saved the universe with a dance off. Just not like in Footloose? Yeah!
Is it still the greatest film?
It never was.
It never was. And then it looks really upset. Yeah. It's like, what? I like the idea that he's going to go back to Earth and everything he's going to have known is just wrong.
Yeah. So sort of coming to the end of it, Thanos wins. So he's got all of the Infinity Stones apart from the Mind one before he goes to Earth. Yeah.
And the whole thing on Wakanda is that they want to try and get the stone out of Vision so that Vision can still live.
Yeah.
But without the Mind Stone, they don't quite get that far. The Black Order, they get killed in pretty horrific ways.
They do.
But then Thor turns up and kind of just like stops a lot of stuff happening. Like he goes full on Superman on everything.
God Thor.
And then it kind of like it slows and it kind of stops and it's like, oh, what's happening now? And it's like, he's here. And then Thanos turns up. And yeah, then Thanos has like a brief fight with everybody to try and get to Vision.
Just nobody does anything.
Everybody gets batted off, apart from Cap, who from the scene from the trailer where they've been really clever that he only had like two stones. Whereas obviously now he's got 5.
Yeah.
He's pushing down, Cap's kind of stopping him, and there's the look of confusion on Thanos, like, well, this shouldn't be happening. You're a tiny man. how are you stopping him? Then he kind of tries a bit harder, but Cap pushes back.
Yeah.
He gives him a good punch at some point as well, and it proper hits him.
He gives him a little bit of a combo. I think he goes to like the knee,
and then he
chest,
goes
and then an uppercut.
And the uppercut looks like it could have done some damage. I mean, it doesn't. No. But then Thanos kind of like sort of just moves him a little bit, and then just
realizes he has another hand.
He just has another hand, yeah.
Just knocks him.
And then just knocks him out, which was always going to happen.
Yeah.
That's not like a Batman v Superman sort of thing where you can actually. That's how Superman wins in every scenario.
Yes, it is.
Beat the shit out of him. But then Scarlet Witch is killing the Infinity Stone.
Yeah, she's got the power
to
destroy it.
Yeah, the idea is that if you destroy the Infinity Stone, he can't then get all 6.
The only sensible decision.
But it's pointless.
Because
he's got the Time Stone.
He does.
And as soon as he turned up and it's kind of happening, they do that slow-mo thing where he's being pushed back with the energy beam.
Yeah.
And it's like the gem is breaking, and then it's a quite a heartbreaking thing because obviously she's doing it to Vision and they're clearly so well connected.
Yeah.
And it is genuinely kind of heartbreaking for them two there specifically. Yeah. Throughout the entire thing, I'm like, it does not matter. He'll reverse time.
His final words are, "I love you," and then he
explodes.
Dies.
But no, he explodes.
He explodes.
Because then the next time, Thanos just reverses time, specific to that point, in which Vision just comes back, and then he just yanks it out of his head. Vision becomes an empty robot.
Yeah, it goes grayscale.
Which is really interesting. They just goes limp, then they just throw it, and then he sounds like an empty robot when he's thrown, which is quite nice. I like that. And then he has the last stone, does his little power-up stance.
Thor flies
in with his new axe. Which apparently cannot be stopped.
Well, no, it's a king's weapon. It's the weapon for whoever's in command of the force of Asgard, be it the Odin force or the Thor force as it is.
See, even so, I kind of still half expected. Thanos now has all 6 Infinity Stones. Maybe he could stop an axe from hitting him in the chest. Yeah. He doesn't.
No, he gets full-on axe to the chest.
Full-on axe to the chest. That's real. Like, that has actually happened.
Yeah.
There's quite a big thing with the Reality Stone where he can make it look like certain things are happening, but that happens to him. And you're like, oh, okay, he's been stabbed.
Maybe he's not going to click
his fingers.
No, he clicks his fingers.
He clicks his fingers because he says to Thor, you should have gone for the head.
Yeah.
And so it happens like it's an instant. He's there, it's like, you should have gone for the head.
Clicks.
And then it cuts.
Yeah.
Like real hard cut. Everyone comes to from the battle, and then they just disintegrate.
This is where the death toll starts to come in, and
it's pretty big.
Going into this,
half the population.
Everyone thought Cap was going to die.
I 100% thought Cap was going to die. Chris Evans has come out and said he's only contracted for one more film, and he's not going to do any more. Sebastian Stan, Winter Soldier, is signed on to do at least another 2 or 3, I think. Everyone was just kind of like, well, he's just going to be Captain America then.
Yeah.
That's how it's going to go. Anthony Mackie, he could possibly do it as Falcon. Cap doesn't die.
No.
Winter Soldier and Falcon do.
Yes.
So that, off the bat, not going to happen for at least another film.
Yeah.
Because I thought they would bring Cap back anyway. They'll kill him off. They'll bring him back once they figure out how to stop everything. The status quo will be restored. Or, potentially, all they can do is get the gauntlet, stop it ever happening again. Yeah. At the moment, we don't really know what the consequences are, because we don't know how this is going to pan out, which I'm quite interested in, which is, I think, why the title for the next film hasn't been released.
Yes.
Because it's probably going to be something along the lines, maybe it's a character name or like an event to which you go, oh, so that's how it's going to go. That's probably what's going to happen.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Black Panther dies. Scarlet Witch is gone.
All of the Guardians, apart from
Rocket.
War Machine doesn't.
No,
War Machine gets crumpled in his suit, and I think you said, I'm like, well, he's never walking again.
Yeah.
And then he just is fine. On Titan, Strange does.
Strange dies, yeah.
Strange dies, which I thought
all the Guardians
weird.
That are there die, apart from Nebula. Nebula's still alive.
No, Nebula. So Mantis does go.
Mantis goes, Drax goes, Gamora's obviously dead.
Spider-Man goes.
Spider-Man
and
dies.
He is terrified.
Yeah.
Like, he obviously can feel it, and he grabs Tony.
He falls into him, doesn't he?
I don't want to go. Please do something. Stop this from happening. Yeah. And he can't.
And that hits Tony.
Because he's got no one.
Yeah.
Now, on Titan.
Yeah, he's stuck on Titan.
He's stuck on Titan
Nebula.
with Nebula. I'm assuming maybe they'll find a spaceship. They'll be able to get off. They'll figure a way out. But his character for the next film is going to have a lot weighing on him now, because now all of a sudden he's lost a lot of people. Not really anyone important.
As you said, the original
Avengers are still okay, but we just don't know about Hawkeye. But you know,
which is what I wanted to bring up next, because that's sort of that done. We see a couple of people from Wakanda dying as well in the army. So
M'Baku doesn't.
M'Baku,
who's good?
He survived. This means it's obviously work, and it's happening across the
universe.
So who that we don't see do you think has survived? So we've obviously got Wong, Potts, Shuri. Do you reckon any of them are dead, or any of them survived?
I think if Potts was going to go, we'd have probably seen it, because then we know Iron Man will be in sort of a similar thing to Thor, where it's like, I've got nothing else to lose now. So I think Pepper Potts is going to be fine. Then again, I thought she was going to die.
What about people like Wong and Shuri?
Because
we see Shuri's knocked out.
I think Wong is inconsequential.
I think Wong's going to survive as like the magic user we know.
One. Oh, we could get
Mordo.
Mordo, yeah.
I guess he's a bit evil at the moment, though, isn't he?
We don't know what he's doing though. He's probably in a different dimension. Probably doesn't know any of this is happening.
True. What's also interesting is stuff that's already come out about the second one. So, while I was looking into the news a couple of weeks back for news articles to talk about on the podcast, I saw one about a leaked character that's going to be in Avengers 2, and that is Cassie Lang.
Oh, Scott Lang's daughter.
Scott Lang's daughter.
Who is
7 at the moment, or some young age.
Oh yeah, no, she's really young, but no, who is she? What does she do? She does something. She's
the character Stinger in the Marvel Universe 616. Okay. She has the same powers as Ant-Man. It's just like a purple suit instead. She has growth powers and shrinking powers. I don't think she needs to use the particles, because she's been around them all of her life.
Which is odd, because she hasn't in the continuity of this.
Right. At this point in our continuity, she's a child. The actress they're looking at getting for this is a teenager. So we're looking at a time skip.
Time jump.
Yeah. Which is really interesting if this turns out to be true. I mean, it looks like it's true. The actress isn't confirmed. But Casey Lang is being scouted as a character for this next film.
So what we're saying is there's going to be... So this has happened. I mean, in order to stop him or undo it, they need to find him and the gauntlet.
Because they don't know where he is.
Don't know where he is. And to be fair, I don't know where he is either. He's on a
he's
planet somewhere.
I think it's Gamora's planet. No, I think, because he says that Gamora's planet is now luscious and green and everyone's prospering.
So maybe he's gone there.
And the building looks similar to ones we see.
Primitive.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, that's how the film ends though, doesn't it? He's on that planet. Because he mentions something, doesn't he? Oh no, it's like, what are you going to do when you've done it? And he's like, I'm going to sit back and watch the sunrise or something like that. And that's what he does. You see him literally sit down and rest.
Do you think he looks happy?
No, I don't think he does.
Because we get that scene, don't we? He does it, and it hard cuts to him in a void almost.
Yeah, and
it's just
child Gamora's there.
It looks like a gate from Asia almost, and there's child Gamora there. She says,
"Oh yeah,
did you do it?
Did you do it?" He says, "Yes."
Yes.
What did it cost?
Everything. It's
kind of like the what now aspect.
Yeah, I can't call him a villain.
I mean, he's done something pretty villainous.
He has, but his character, for all intents and purposes, is so different to every other villain we've had. He has had a full story arc in this film. As I said, he was the main character of this. You see him at the start where he's out to conquer, he knows what he wants. You see him throughout it and he's just like, I've given up way too much now. I need to do this. I've lost the one thing I loved. He's heartbroken when he gets there and he finds out the Moor's dead. Because you see Stranger and he's like, is the Moor dead? Yep. Too much has been lost. He says something to that effect. And then obviously you get to this end bit and I think he's realised that everything he's done might not be worth it.
I guess since Gamora left and he's been doing the stones, he's only ever really had maybe the Black Order to talk to and like interact with.
Yeah.
Now he's got no one.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily feel like that's any different, because he lost the person that he had the biggest connection to. He still doesn't have that.
She's dead.
She's dead. He can't undo that, potentially, because then he would have her back, but he lost her to get the Soul Stone. So if he brings her back, does he lose the Soul Stone?
Maybe.
Which means that the gauntlet's incomplete.
He could create a reality version of her, I guess, if he wanted.
Could do. Yeah, I don't know. I think speculation for the next film is going to be rife, and it's going to be similar to Who Erased Parents.
Yeah, it's going to be.
It's going to be. We've got 12 months. Well, that's 2 years to be fair. We're going to have 12 months of us going. How is this going to go?
Is it release same time next year? Or is it?
Same time next year, May 2018, May 2019. I don't know where it's going to go. Post-credit scene, I feel like it's incredibly inconsequential.
It is.
There's only one, to be fair.
Yeah.
It's right at the end. The credits are actually really interesting. There's no visuals.
And Tom Holland doesn't have a hairstylist.
Tom Holland doesn't. Don Cheadle does.
Yes.
I cannot fathom a world where Don Cheadle has a hairstylist. Tom Holland doesn't, other than I can only assume that Tom Holland is a hairstylist himself, and he's done it himself.
Or he's actually bald, and it's a wig, and Don Cheadle actually has a huge afro, and it's a bowl cap.
Maintains down, potentially, but I just couldn't.
Maybe.
Hairstylist to Mr. Cheadle.
Yeah.
Whoever that is, fair play to them for making a career out of nothing.
Yeah.
No, I don't think the post-credit scene is anything. Going into it, we all thought maybe this character was going to be in it.
Yeah.
Or at the very least, there would be a reference to them.
Which character are you on about?
Captain Marvel.
I thought you were on about Nick Fury.
Oh, no, I couldn't give a shit about Nick Fury.
I thought he was going to be in it because he was in Iron Man.
None of the trailers.
No, that's true.
But even in Ultron, there was like a brief bit with I think even his voiceover or something. But so
the after credits scene,
is quite good in the sense that it shows you what the consequence of what's happened is. So he's obviously clicked his fingers. It's Nick Fury and Maria Hill driving. And then there's like a car crash in front of them.
Yeah.
They get out and there's nobody in the car. And like a helicopter crashes. And then people start to do the disintegrating thing.
Yeah.
Maria Hill disappears. And then Nick Fury gets out.
It's kind of a pager, isn't it?
It's more of a pager than it is anything else.
It's a shield device of some sort.
But it's a pager.
Yeah.
It's even got a crappy little screen.
Yeah.
Which I can only assume means that because the film is set in the 90s,
yeah,
maybe it's 90s technology. Maybe wherever she is, she's not up to date with these sorts of things. But then he sends a message to someone, he then starts to disintegrate, and then is about to say motherfucker, but gets cut off before he can say it. And then the thing drops and the Captain Marvel logo
comes up.
And I thought we might get her in it.
There was a rumour that she.
I thought she was going to turn up at the end, and it was already going to be too late.
What, in like the Thor role, almost?
Kind of. Even when like he's clicked the fingers, she was then going to arrive on Wakanda and be like, "I've only just gotten to this.
What have I missed?"
I was like, nobody expects the Spanish Inquisition. Yeah, she was just going to get there and she was going to be too late. But I thought then we'd at least be like, wow, she's now part of it. We get that aspect of it, I guess, now, but it just means that I guess Captain Marvel's going to come into the next film and she's probably going to have a bigger role because her solo film will have come out at this point.
So, did you enjoy it?
I fucking loved it. I think this film is going to make so much money.
It's going to be really interesting next week when we look back at the figures for this weekend.
Yeah, I think it's going to be insane. I'm kind of looking forward to that.
I just really enjoyed it. We sort of said coming into this, you said that there was a couple of things you wanted to talk about. I really struggled to think of things to say about this film other than go and watch it.
Yeah, totally. It's
an
experience.
Yeah.
At the very least.
I think you said earlier on in this that it is its own standalone film in itself. It's a part one. It's definitely a part one film, but it's also a standalone. You can watch this to the end and be like, well, that's the end then.
That's why it works so well. What would you... So, like, we've previously given film ratings. So, like, we've gone with out of 10. We've gone with 5 stars. So we need to make another one just to annoy the fans so that there's a lack of continuity there.
I'll give it 5 out of 6 Infinity Stones.
Oh, it's a good one, actually.
I can't give it the full 6 because some CGI is really jarring, which I know is petty, because overall it doesn't affect the story, which I love. But there are bits that
where,
do pull me out.
Yeah, and I completely agree. For me, it's most of the Thanos stuff.
For me, it's the Hulk bits.
It's the Hulk bits.
Not the Hulk, the Bruce Banner in the
Bruce Banner in the Hulkbuster armor, but it's a specific scene.
And the Proxia Midnight stuff, unfortunately. She doesn't look good compared to the rest of the Black Order.
I can't understand how she's just not a person in makeup, but they've put a CGI character there.
The rest of them look really good, but she looks the equivalent of the orc from The Hobbit.
Yes. Yes.
The rest of the world looks fantastic, but she sticks out like a sore thumb.
Yeah. I couldn't understand, because she's one of the only people you can get away with putting in makeup.
Yeah, it's literally just a mask that you need.
I don't understand why they didn't just do that. It would be better, because they're all quite tall. They're giant people, effectively, so I guess it's difficult to have that aspect to it.
She's just a little bit taller than Widow.
No, she's bent over a little bit when they're fighting. Oh, okay. Yeah. What were you saying?
5 out of 6 Infinity Stones.
5 out of 6. Yeah, I would completely agree. 5 out of 6.
Which I guess in conventional means I would say 9 out of 10. At the moment, I love this film.
I think it's 8.5 if you really whittle it down.
Fine. Yeah, 8.5.
3.75 out of 5.
5 out of 6 Infinity Stones.
Yeah, I think you can't be a fan of Marvel films and not see this.
No, definitely.
You can't be a fan of films and not see this. Because as an action film, it's got a lot of great moments in it. It's got a lot of good character development to it. There is an inherent love story throughout the whole thing.
2 love stories.
I was just being broad by saying love story anyway.
3 love stories.
Yeah, because obviously Rocket and Gamora, they proper get it on.
With his little rocket.
Turns out she really likes raccoons.
Rabbits.
He gets called a rabbit all the time, and it's like another film where he's called something else.
Yeah,
it is really good. It's like, rabbit? What? Again, Rocket, that CGI done at its best, because it looks like a fucking raccoon. And Thanos just looks like a genuine CGI character. I would put Thanos on par with what they made Steppenwolf look like in Justice League.
That's unfair.
I don't think it is.
I think that's
because
unfair.
It's always the lips. No CGI character that I've ever seen in a film, mocap, whatever, gets the lips right. And I guess that's because at some point the green's got to stop. But in every one...
It's the one thing that is still being developed. And it's going to be an issue for a long time, which I think you need to get over.
I don't think I do, because if you can do the rest of it as well as you can... Like, the apes from Planet of the Apes look fucking phenomenal.
But they've got weird coconut mouths.
That's how you get away with it.
Give everyone Chewbacca face.
I mean, yeah. But even like Thanos, he's got a big face. You could do something with it. But again, the lips never quite meet, which makes it look like the words he's saying aren't the words he's saying. And unfortunately, if we hadn't have done last week's podcast... I would never have spent that entire film going, damn, I wish that was Michael Clarke Duncan.
Oh, sorry.
Because throughout the entire film, I was like, it should be someone else.
In fairness, him doing those emotional scenes would have been a lot more heart-wrenching.
And I don't think Josh Brolin has necessarily got the acting chops for this.
I don't think he was bad.
I found him quite, not distant, but I felt... Like, a lot of the stuff that he was doing, like, the fact that he cries because he's sad, showed me that he was sad.
Yeah.
A lot of the time, like, the faces he's pulling, quite bland, quite generic, and whether that's not necessarily Josh Brolin's fault, maybe it's just because that's how the technology allows him to be.
Maybe.
But when I see Snoke in Star Wars, and he looks shocked, he looks fucking shocked. And he looks like he's doing an evil face, he looks evil. I don't get that from Thanos.
Yeah, and that's going to be down to the actor, isn't it? Because that's Andy Serkis versus Josh
Brolin. And I appreciate that Josh Brolin is not a mocap character actor.
Yeah.
Whereas Andy Serkis has done this for, Lord of the Rings was in 2001. So that is 17 years that Andy Serkis has honed his craft on this. Josh Brolin has stepped in and just been like, we just had to put a bunch of ping pong balls on your face. We're really sorry, but here it is.
Little fun fact on that. The guy who plays Cull Obsidian, the big Hulk one of the Black Order, was Kong.
Was there 2 then? Because in Kong, the facial ones that they used was a different actor that did the big Laurie stuff.
Oh, okay. Then, it must be...
The facial actor was Toby Kebbell.
Oh.
Toby Kebbell is the guy from Fan4stick as Doctor Doom.
Oh, no!
He's the villainous ape in the second Planet of the Apes films.
Oh, okay.
And he's brilliant in that.
He is good in that.
So again, that's the guy who's good at mocap stuff. The way they do Planet of the Apes, though, is really different. They make them spend like a week
in an ape enclosure.
They spend a week
in an ape enclosure
in a giant room being apes.
Oh, that's what they need to do. They need to put Josh Brolin
in
a big chair.
They need to make Josh Brolin want to take over the world and kill half the people, and then he'll understand what the conviction is.
Yeah, put him in a little room with
children.
I was going to say a couple of maniac dictators, and see what happens.
Send him to North Korea. Well, actually, apparently they're doing all right. Send him to America, where he's from.
Oh God.
But yeah, okay, sorry. So going back, it's a great film. The CGI for me does let it down, but not enough to make me go.
Don't see it.
Don't see it.
Would you say see it?
I would say 100% see it. I think we're getting to a point in films now where CGI is becoming incredibly flawless. This film isn't that. But I think the studio that brought us a de-aged Kurt Russell was amazing. I guess de-aging is different to the stuff that
it's actually just the cream, isn't it?
I mean, according to Kurt Russell, they just put a lot of makeup on him, and they must have told him that. Yeah. Because they did not give him a lot of makeup. Makeup doesn't take 30 years off your life. No. But yeah, again, that's the preference for me. A lot of people will go into it and just go, that looks amazing. But this is a great film. We've seen it twice in like 3 days. And
said that I'm probably going to go see it again.
Probably will see it again, yeah.
But
I can't recommend it enough.
Yeah, I guess that's all we have to say at the moment without continuing on 4 hours.
Another 6 hours. I think it'd be really interesting to do a speculation.
Yeah, no,
section.
We definitely can do.
So at some point we should do kind of like a where do we think this is going to go.
I think give it a couple of weeks when we see what other people have done and we can steal their ideas as our own. Yeah. But yeah, that was our little breakdown and walkthrough of Avengers Infinity War. So, are you ready, Ben?
No, I wasn't paying attention.
You can
contact crap, Twitter!
You can.
You need to give me more warning about this.
Well, it's going to be at the end of every podcast. I'll give you that as
What's a podcast?
So, you can contact me on Twitter at Hosagi. You can message us both on Twitter at Faulking Around. You can message Ben.
What the fuck is that? How to check your own testicles?
Why have you got that up?
It's Macmillan Cancer Info. Apparently Ed Ball's Day is trending.
Okay.
It's a picture.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Ben just showed me a diagram on Twitter of how to check...
Diagram? That's me, mate.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
You look very 2D.
Mocap.
Oh, of how to check for testicular cancer. Thanks.
I feel like there's a pun there.
Okay.
Dick cap.
Okay, thanks.
No worries, what we're doing. I
Your
am
Twitter handle.
at Benjamin Falcon 1. Ugh, I need to get this printed up. Can you just make a recording of me and stick this in at the end of every one?
No.
Do I have to do this live every time?
I mean, live every time.
Okay, I'm at Benjamin Falcon 1. My name is Faulkner, but just take off the E and the R. Benjamin Falcon 1.
Oh, that bit. I thought you meant just the telling of Twitter. No. You don't have to do that bit every time. Just tell people your Twitter handle.
I do tell people my Twitter handle. No, I want that to be... I don't want to have to explain it every time.
Oh, no. You have to. You can...
Let's just see if there's any TJ Miller or Taylor Swift news.
Okay. I should look for Taylor Swift news for you each week as well.
Well, I feel like I bring the Taylor Swift news anyway.
Well, you look for that. I'll tell the rest of it. So you can listen and download us on iTunes. Search Faulking Around.
Oh yeah, we're on iTunes now.
We are on iTunes. You can listen and watch along on YouTube. Also search Faulking Around.
There is no new Taylor Swift
news. No new Taylor Swift news?
Or TJ Miller.
You got to try harder then.
Or, I'm so good, they never find me.
That's the worry. And we've got an email. You can email us.
Have we?
Yeah, you can email us.
Another thing I don't have access to.
I've given you the passwords, you just don't do it.
I forget what they are every time. Isn't it like C-3PO is gay?
Shut up!
Oh, shit.
You can send us your questions to faulkingaround@gmail.com. Anything that you want to comment on.
Is your favourite thing of Infinity War
the CGI?
That...
Don't talk with your mouth full.
I like pancakes.
Shut up. Any theories that you have, let us know as well, and we can discuss those going forward.
So dry.
Well, that's your own fault, isn't it?
Oh, cold.
Your comeuppance is sweet. And I'm going to sign us off now while laughing at Ben's misfortune of...
I'm clear, I've got nothing in my mouth now.
Well, that makes a change.
Go home, Cedric.
Well, signing off for this week, I have been Chris.
And I have been Ben.
Pancake-ridden Ben. And this is us, Faulking off.
Bye!